The Zero Tolerance Act is an act of just pure laziness. Parents and teachers are becoming so lazy that putting innocent kids into juvenile is the easiest way out. Although sending kids away for being troublemakers could potentially be the right option, doing it too often for the wrong reasons is corrupting the little kids into having a successful future. Take a second and put yourself into a mother or father's shoes. Would you want them getting sent away for normal childhood behavior, or would you like to try and confront and solve the problem yourself first? This is the sad reality of the world today, and we need to protect our children from the potential danger of their future. I would like to refute the New York Times editorial called "The Trouble with Zero Tolerance's main claim that is a claim of fact because they came to the conclusion to enforce the zero tolerance policy, separating the good and the bad kids by sending them to juvenile prison. Providing that this claim is not only lazy, but is also cruel to the innocent kids, it is doing more harm than good. I will discuss how it affects the dropout rates, psychological issues, and how it has become a racial factor. One of the first issues as to why this act is so dangerous is because arresting first can potentially increase the rates of dropping out and experience long-term problems once they become entangled in the juvenile system. From the scholarly article Mental Health Service Needs of Juvenile Offenders, a comparison of detention, incarceration, and treatment settings, it states that juvenile incarcerated kids are more prone to having mental health problems. In the article by John Lyons, he mentions youth suffer from diagnosable psychiatric disorders, with more than one-third consistently exhibiting symptoms of major affective disorders. This means young kids begin to suffer anxiety, mental health problems, mood swings, depression, schizophrenia, and more at a really young age, turning them into a more aggressive, dangerous person later on in life. Not to mention, once you're sent into juvenile ground, the odds of you coming out are in the slim to none. It's harder to get out of the situation once people who are there for the right reasons have surrounded you. With psychological problems and dropout rates, another big issue that comes from the Zero Tolerance Act is race is a huge problem when dealing with this. African American people are getting singled out and taken advantage of by the juvenile system, especially kids who are too young to speak for themselves. From the academic article Race and Fragility of the Legal Distinction Between Juvenile and Adults by Annetta Rayton, explains Black juveniles who are transferred to adult courts for trial and sentencing receive significantly more punitive sentences than white juveniles, and this practice is on the rise, as well as from perceived needs for substance abuse treatment among white, Hispanic, and Black juvenile arrestees. By Vera Lopez says, Black and Hispanics have been found to be less likely than whites to have ever participated in substance abuse. Yet, in the article, adjudication decisions of Black, white, Hispanics, and Native American youth by judicial courts by Tina Friggenberger says Black youth were also more likely to be formally charged for the drug crime, and Black drug offenders were more likely to be sentenced to out-of-home placement. This clearly explains that there is a big racial factor when determining who is guilty and not. Although more whites are using substances than Blacks, more Blacks are still in juvenile, meaning the justice system is being corrupted. As you can see, putting kids into juvenile jail truly affects so much more than expected. Today, I have talked about how I refuted the main claim, which is a claim of fact, by the New York Times editorial called "The Trouble with Zero Tolerance," that states the enactment of the zero tolerance policy, separating the good and the bad kids by sending them to juvenile prison, and provide that this claim is not only lazy, but also cruel to the innocent kids, potentially doing more harm than good. It affected kids' health and how it has become a huge racial factor in the world today. So next time you want to send your kids to elementary or middle school, make sure your kids' future is safe from the zero tolerance policy.